everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about the Legacy metagame over the course of the last week. And as with all my metagames, this is a disclaimer that technically this is a winner's metagame since Magic Online only posts top 32s of challenges, but it's still pretty reflective of the overall metagame. Let's jump into it with the graph. At the top, by a pretty giant margin, by over 10%, is Oops All Spells, followed pretty closely in second/third by Red Stompy and Grixis Tempo, and then in fourth/fifth is Jeskai Control and Dimir Reanimator. So let's talk about these decks.
Come on, does anybody like Control? Okay, let me rephrase that. Do any people that other people enjoy being around like Control?
Starting with Jeskai Control. Control being back in Legacy and being good is really cool. This is your basic control deck. It gets ahead with planeswalkers like Narset and Teferi, plays a ton of removal and counter magic and board wipes to make it so you can't do anything, controls them with the cards like Back to Basics, which is hilarious, and just pulls way ahead while controlling what you do. It's just like a super classic control deck. Dimir Reanimator is wild that Dimir Reanimator is still around to me because it's been banned into oblivion, but it's still pretty popular. It's leaning a little bit more on the tempo plan, but it's still playing Archon of Cruelty, Atraxa, Entomb, and Reanimate because it is just so good to just do that. You don't have to devote that many slots to being on the back of a really powerful Dimir mid-range tempo-y deck. It's also tend to play an Aberrant Oculus as well to reward you for casting a bunch of spells. Aberrant Oculus is just very powerful, but also being able to put Aberrant Oculus into the graveyard and then reanimating it is really silly as well. But Dimir Reanimator is still around. It's just mostly a Dimir tempo deck that has some reanimation combos, devotes 10 or 11 slots into reanimation. Red Stompy was at the top at the last few metagames, but has since gone down a peg. Red Stompy uses Ancient Tomb-esque lands to produce more mana than they probably should to cast big artifacts and big red threats, and then locks their opponent out with Trinisphere. Trinisphere doesn't matter to them because they're casting expensive spells anyway, and the One Ring and Blood Moon, and really punishes your opponent while killing them with crazy powerful cards like Broadside Bombardiers, Tursa, Pyrogoy, Fury, etc.
Wait for my birds.
Get it? Tempo.
Grixis Tempo is one of the new tempo decks that have sort of replaced Dimir. Grixis Tempo uses Nethergoyf, Tamio. Some versions use Delver of Secrets to just play cheap but very powerful threats on top of counter magic and hand destruction and removal spells and stuff like that to tempo out their opponent because they're spending less mana than their opponent would on the things that they're answering. It's splashing the red for the sideboard Meltdowns and Pyroblast because it's pretty free at the moment, but is definitely the premier tempo deck of the format.
What do you mean there's no lands? Then how do I cast my spells? I'll talk to my agent about this.
And then the by a lot most popular deck over the course of the last week, Oops All Spells, is a deck that is playing the lands that are spells on the front side but are lands on the back side, alongside Crone Mox and Lotus Petal and Dark Ritual and things like that, to be able to play a Balustrade Spy or an Undercity Informer literally as fast as possible. When they activate them, it ends up milling their entire deck, putting Narcomoebas and whatnot onto the battlefield. Then they can use Dread Return to sacrifice those creatures on the battlefield to return Thassa's Oracle and win the game. It's a very powerful, very potent combo deck that it effectively is a one-card combo that the rest of the deck is focused around protecting and ramping out as fast as possible. But that is the Legacy metagame. If you like this video, then please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.